Welcome to All Wise on Wire. Today, we're talking about Anwar's handling of the Shamsul Iskandar corruption case. And this is a huge one. It feels like one of those moments where you see all the frustration and all the procedure just crash into each other.
It's absolutely a high-stakes moment. You can feel the political tension. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is very clearly under a microscope here with the arrest of his former senior political secretary, Shamsul Iskandar.
And this wasn't some minor issue. We're talking about the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission stepping in over a pretty major case, right? Yeah. Something about a Sabah mining permit.
Exactly. A multi-million ringgit corruption case. And what's really telling is the Prime Minister's response. He didn't just, put out a quiet statement.
No, he went straight to the lower house of parliament, and it was raw. It felt almost aggressive. He was basically staring down the opposition and saying, look what we did. What more do you want?
It was a very confrontational posture. And you have to understand, that's a strategy. He's not just defending himself. He's trying to get out ahead of the narrative.
What narrative? That he's protecting his own people.
Precisely. In Malaysian politics, whenever someone close to the top gets investigated, the first thought, the immediate assumption is, well, it's that there's some kind of political game or, protection going on. He's trying to shut that down from the start.
Okay, so let's get into how he did that. Because he really leaned on the visuals, the political theater of it all. He didn't just say Shamsul Iskandar was arrested.
No, he was very specific. He made sure everyone knew that Shamsul Iskandar was not given any kind of special treatment. He was arrested, and then he was seen in that very recognizable orange detainee uniform.
And the handcuffs.
That's an incredibly powerful symbol. The Prime Minister, he understands that what people see often matters far more than what they're told.
So by pointing to the uniform, the handcuffs,
yeah,
he's creating this picture of total impartiality. This is his evidence.
It is. He's saying, look, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission followed procedure to the absolute letter. This is his defense against anyone claiming this was just for show or that his former aide was getting, some kind of easy ride.
I have to push back on that a little bit, though. When a prime minister stands up and so publicly emphasizes how tough the process was, really hammering the point about the handcuffs, doesn't that create a different kind of pressure? Doesn't it sort of force the commission's hand to secure a conviction?
That is the exact political gamble he's taken. It's an incredibly fine line to walk. On the one hand, he has to show he's not interfering. But on the other...
the sheer weight of his public defense puts the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission in the spotlight. Now they have to deliver.
It raises the bar for them, absolutely. You could feel his frustration with the opposition, couldn't you? He called their complaints chattering incessantly. He was practically daring them to find a single flaw in the process itself.
And he used the severity of it as a weapon. He actually said that in other, even more serious cases, the accused are not always subjected to being handcuffed.
Think about that statement for a moment. It's profound. He's suggesting the commission might have even been tougher than usual here, perhaps to silence any critics. But in doing so, he sets a new standard.
A new standard. That's a huge precedent, isn't it? The handcuffs and orange uniform is now the baseline for any aide suspected of corruption.
It sends a message, not just to the opposition, but internally, to his own cabinet, to all his senior staff. The message is, being close to me doesn't give you a free pass. It might even make things tougher.
Which brings us to the core of his entire argument.
Yes.
The independence of the enforcement body.
Yes. The central pillar of his whole speech was this repeated claim that the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission had a complete autonomy.
Unhampered. Complete autonomy. He says he didn't intervene, didn't give a single instruction. For anyone who's followed Malaysian politics for more than 5 minutes, that claim is always met with a bit of skepticism. Why should this time be different?
Because of the context. He knows that history. He knows the accusations of selective prosecution that have dogged previous administrations, so his strategy is to make this a defining moment.
By just saying it over and over again.
By saying it publicly in Parliament, linking it to visible, auditable actions. He's on the record saying he explicitly told the Commission's leadership they were free to do whatever they needed to do, no constraints.
And then he threw down the gauntlet. He asked Parliament, is this still not satisfactory? He's backing them into a corner.
He is. He's forcing them to either accept the visual evidence, the suit, the cuffs, or to specify what exactly they think he did wrong. It's a masterful political play.
But it's so risky. If just one future case involving an ally is seen as being handled with less rigor,
the entire narrative collapses. His entire reformist image could be shattered. The benchmark he set is incredibly high.
Okay, let's talk about the actual case for a sec, because the MACC's actions make more sense when you understand the scale of what's being alleged. This is all about a SWOTA mining permit.
And that's critical context. We're not talking about a minor bribe here. These mining permits in Sabah can cover huge areas of land. The money involved, the alleged bribes to influence these deals could be in the tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of ringgit.
For our listeners overseas, that's potentially tens of millions of US dollars. This is large-scale economic crime.
It is. It impacts local economies, people's livelihoods, the environment. That scale explains why the investigation wasn't just focused on Shamsul Iskandar alone.
Right, it was a network, which is why other people were arrested too.
Exactly. The source material points to two other key individuals. First, a man identified as Albert. What's interesting is that he's the whistleblower.
Wait, they arrested the whistleblower? That seems strange. Why would the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission arrest the person who brought them the case?
It can happen for a few reasons. It could be for his own protection, to get him out of harm's way. But more likely, in these complex corruption cases, the whistleblower is often, well, part of the transaction flow.
So they need to vet him too. Make sure his story is clean.
They need to rigorously investigate him to corroborate every detail and to ensure he didn't have some other motive or involvement. It's about keeping the chain of evidence pure.
And there was a third person, a woman named Sufia.
Yes, Sufia. She's rumored to have been acting as Shamsul Iskandar's agent in all this. Her involvement suggests the MACC is tracing the money and the influence through an intermediary.
So they're looking at the whole picture, the alleged recipient, the middle person, and even the original complainant.
It's a comprehensive investigation, and that multifaceted approach, again, it just bolsters the Prime Minister's claim that he gave them free rein. They are acting like a body with no political restrictions.
So when you put it all together, Anwar's argument is basically, look at the orange uniform, look at the handcuffs, look at the breadth of this investigation. How could you possibly say I tried to protect him?
That's the narrative. Immediate action. Maximum rigor. No special favors. This, he argues, is what integrity in government actually looks like.
Let's think about what this means for the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission now. They've been given this huge public vote of confidence, this promise of autonomy. They absolutely have to build a rock-solid case.
The pressure on them is immense. If this case falls apart in court, it doesn't just look bad for them.
It completely destroys Anwar's entire defense.
The opposition's skepticism would be proven right overnight.
It would validate everything they've been saying. So the stakes for the entire enforcement system right now are, frankly, enormous.
So the message has been sent. Proximity to power doesn't mean protection from investigation anymore. That's the signal, yes. It changes the game for everyone in government, especially those senior aides and political secretaries. The old way of doing things, where you might expect a quiet slap on the wrist, that's being publicly torn down.
The Prime Minister has made his position clear. No protection for corruption, even for his closest people. But, and this is the question I'm left with, is it really possible for the Commission to be truly neutral in this environment? When the Prime Minister makes such a public show of it, does his defense, however well-intentioned, end up creating a new kind of pressure, a pressure to prosecute no matter what? That's something to think about.
The standard has been set. Now it all comes down to consistency and proving it in court.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.